Oh, man. You know what? I probably just did something stupid. If we cooked it, we cooked it. In 2024, I got the itch to build a retro DOS machine. Not to be perfectly accurate, but to relive the time I remember living through when everything was changing. And I was a high school kid, Frankensteining PCs together with high schooler money. I thought I remembered how it worked. Turns out I remembered the feeling, not all of the details. And this project reminded me why, in the mid-90s, PC building was a little bit chaotic at times.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Hack Shack.
I wanted a DOS machine, not a Pentium, a late 46 era machine. That moment when buses, CPU voltages, everything seemed to be kind of chaotic and changing all the time. Back then, I remember every upgrade feeling huge, but you were always like one part behind. Doom, Descent, Duke 3D, Heretic. It felt like the ground was constantly shifting. September 2024, VCF Midwest, near the end of the show. Ryan from Everything is Broken Garage was walking around seeing if anybody wanted these 46 Local bus boards. He had a whole bunch of. Of course, there's no guarantee about the condition of these and if they would work or if they needed any work, that kind of thing. But I figured it was a sign and snagged one. This wasn't going to be a pristine build. And you can see here that the board did have some battery damage. That kind of took the wind out of my sails a little bit, but I kept moving forward. So I did what I remember doing back then. I started gathering up some parts. 16 megs of RAM, an AMD DX280 that I remembered fondly, a Local bus video card, SCSI card, some modern conveniences where it made sense, the PicoGus for sound, a blue SCSI for storage. At this point, I thought I was basically done. And then I ran into something I had completely forgotten. Late in the 46 era, CPUs changed faster than motherboards. Newer 46 CPUs wanted lower voltage, but a lot of older boards were still 5 volts only. Yeah, that one. The board I got from Ryan was solid, older, kind of a generic no-name design, but it was 5 volts only. And that AMD DX280 I bought, newer, lower voltage.
So much time had passed since I'd built a 486. This whole 5 volt versus 3 volt thing was not even on my radar. I didn't even think anything about it.
Thankfully, Justin, who happened to be watching my December live stream where I was trying to throw this together, noticed that and sounded the alarm. Oh, man. You know what? I probably just did something stupid then. Very stupid. Well, if we cooked it, we cooked it. That's what I get for being the lackadaisical. Yeah, it does say 3 volts. Son of a gun. I didn't even think about that. I should have. It's been so long since I've done these things. And I'm sure I knew that at one time, 20 something years ago. I didn't even think about that, man. So yeah, the comment section likely saved a little hardware. Once I realized the mismatch, I started trying to work around it. And that's how all this happened. In the middle of all that chaos, one setup finally worked, and it worked great. The Opti Local bus board, still 16 megs of RAM, PicoGus for sound, blue SCSI for storage, and the Adaptec card to work with the blue SCSI, and the original Trident Local bus video card I purchased. And then I noticed something strange. I can't seem to be able to get this thing to run at 80 megahertz. It loves running at 100, but I haven't figured out the jumpers yet to see if it'll do 80. And maybe I can't. But it actually seems to be quite stable at 100.
One of the first things I did after I got it booted up was ran some various utilities and benchmarks and things. And I got this Superscape score of 52.6. And from what I understand, that must be pretty good for this era of machine. What do you think? Drop any other benchmarks you would like to see me check out in the comments if you'd like, and I'll give them a shot.
I wanted 146 and ended up with a pile of parts and one machine that feels exactly like I remember from back in the day. All right, just going to give you a quick little demo of how long it takes to boot up from power up and hear what the sound card sounds like. But it is coming through the TV here, so it won't be as good as it would be on some nice speakers. And the sound's coming from the PicoGus. So I just turn the power switch on. Here's the Adaptec card. You'll see it detecting the blue SCSI virtual hard drive and or emulated hard drive and the emulated CD-ROM drive. Or actually 2 emulated hard drives. Here we are. I'm going to pick this selection, and this is the canned DOS 622 image that I've added some couple of things to that you can get from the Blue Scuzzy folks.
All right, that's enough of that. You can see how it works. Sounds pretty awesome. So that's that. All right, took me a minute. I was trying to remember the time demo thing everybody used to do back in the day. And I don't know how to translate that into whatever it is, but I'm going to run it. I think it's time demo 3. And then I'll probably just speed this up and let you see the end results. And I don't know how to interpret those, but I'll just let you see what they are. All right, so that was 3,863 game ticks and 5,478 real ticks, whatever the heck that means. Also, why are AT cases so expensive? At least on eBay, which I guess everything's expensive there. I'm going to have to find somebody to sell me one at a reasonable price. I guess if you live long enough, stuff you might have thrown away back in the day ends up becoming collectible. Hey, one more quick thing. This is just more the story of my little adventure here, getting a 46 machine back going. If you would like a live stream or a prepared video that goes into more detail of Pico Gus and working under DOS and getting the Blue Scuzzy to work under DOS and what I did there, just let me know in the comments and I'll be glad to maybe throw something together. Thanks for watching. Hey, if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Hope to see you again next time. Take care. Bye-bye.